I just wanted to be with you. Besides, I think this class will be fun and creative.
Okay, but we're not together. I'm not with you and you're not with me. We broke up.
Did you get my last text? You just need to see me every day after school. You'll change your mind.
Yeah, I got your text. All 100 of them. And I text you back. I'm not interested.
Wow, she's really into him.
Taylor, she just really cares for Kevin. When someone likes you that much, they want to be with you all the time. Just like me and Jason. Jason loves me so much that he wants to be with me all the time. I think it's sweet.
And I think it's weird. If someone breaks up with you, then you should take it, not go around stalking the person hoping to get back with them. It's just like that time that you wanted to break up with Jason, but he wouldn't let you. It's just like my Aunt Jackie. She had this boyfriend, right? She broke up with, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. So one night, when she was walking up the stairs to her apartment, he saw her, and he started crying and pleading for her to take him back, and she still said no. And you know what? He beat her up really bad. So you should take this thing kind of seriously, you know? I mean, just last month in 17 magazine, there was this article about a girl going through the very same thing. It was all about power and control and how the guy thought he owned her or something like that. Too weird for me.
Jason would never do something like that to me. And besides, he's not trying to control me. I thought I wanted to break up with Jason, but then he listened and he changed. He even started crying, saying that I was the best thing that had ever happened to him. Jason needs me. It's like Christina needs Kevin.
Yeah, and he texts you like 1,000,000 times in one day, and he tries to be so possessive over you about what you eat. I think it's strange, Madison, and it's too weird for me.
Christina, hey, come sit here. I'll show you what we're doing for today.
Don't let it bother you, dude. She's psycho, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally know what you mean.
Come on, class. Less talking, more working. We have a deadline.
So, how's photography going with you and Justin?
Well, it's going really well. We're meeting up today after school to take more pictures.
He's pretty cute. You guys have been spending a lot of time together.
Justin, we're just friends. We work really well together. Jason, I wasn't expecting to see you here today. I thought we had plans for tomorrow.
We do, but I missed you. I wanted to see you. I got lunch. Is he hungry?
Well, I did tell Taylor that I would meet her for lunch today.
If he really loved me, he'll come with me.
Okay, let's go. I'll just text Taylor and tell her I'll see you tomorrow in school. Ooh, I'm starving. Smells like you got us some cheeseburgers.
Actually, Madison, I don't think you should eat a cheeseburger. But I got you salad.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So, Jason, I am so excited that I signed up for the yearbook class. I'm having such a great time. Miss James is just the bomb. She has the best ideas. Well, for a teacher and all.
So you seem really excited about this yearbook thing. Who else is in the class?
A lot of cool people like Brittany, James, Sarah, Christina, and, oh, that guy Alex, who's in every play. And, oh, Justin from the basketball team. Have you seen his work? He takes such great pictures.
Told the vanilla. You said Justin? Didn't he have a thing for you last year?
I don't think so. We've always just been friends.
I remember him staring at you in every class. Wasn't he on Facebook a long time before I was?
Jason, I don't remember him checking me out. And Besides, I have a lot of friends on my Facebook.
I don't care. I don't know this guy. I don't want you working with him.
Jason, we don't hang out. We're just working in the
I don't care. I don't want you working with him. Okay?
Fine, fine. Just don't raise your voice, okay? I'll fix it. All right? No problem. Just please don't get mad.
That's the way it should be. I'm your boyfriend. Let's eat.
You're here late today. What's going on? Anything happening this weekend? Any parties I need to know about?
Hey, Sarah, no, I'm just chilling. I had to furnish that friggin' paper, so I know, I just got out of the library, but, haven't heard of any parties or anything? I'll definitely keep you posted.
Nice.
Why? You got a hot friend you want me to hang out with this weekend?
Oh, you mean Chloe? Yeah, I know you like her. I think she thinks you're hot too, so. Actually, she should be coming this way. We're in yearbook and class just ended, so.
Yeah, Chloe. All the guys think she's hot. She's pretty cool. I like her.
Yeah, every guy. Well, anyway, I gotta go. I have so much homework to finish tonight. I was up late last night texting with Taylor. She thinks that Jason and Madison are having issues, and I think Taylor's just going way too far. I don't know. But if I see Chloe, I'll let her know you're looking for her. If not, I'll just see you later.
All right, cool. I'll see you this weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
I mean, they're showing the pictures. Hey, Steve, what are you doing here?
Yeah, Steve, what are you doing here?
Hey, guys, I was just hanging out, waiting for the hot yearbook staff to show up.
Oh, we are hot.
Hey, Steve, do you want to go down to Starbucks? I really need to break. I have a ton of homework to do tonight, so you down?
Oh, I can't go with you guys. I have to watch my sister tonight because my mom has class. I'd love to go, though. Maybe next time?
Yeah, we'll do it next time for sure.
All right. Well, you boys don't have too much fun without me, and I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.
Bye, Chloe.
What was that?
What?
Is there something going on between you and Chloe that I should know about?
Come on, Alex. I don't want everyone to know that you and I are together. It's a game. I'm playing it straight. That Chloe's cute, but I'm really into you. You know that.
I know, but it's annoying, and I can't stand watching you pretend to like Chloe. I mean, when you're gay, It's time to come out.
Alex, we have been over this and over this. I really don't want to get into it today. Can we just go? I've got to be home soon. I have very limited time.
Okay, but we're going to finish this discussion. I want to settle this once and for all. Okay, Steve?
Hey, guys. Everything okay? Look a little ticked off there, Alex. Hey, I don't have to break up a fight over a girl, do I?
No, yeah, you're right, Mr. Cooper. She's definitely not worth it.
Yeah.
You can have her.
Good. That's better, isn't it? That's the way it should be. Come on, you're friends. That's better, guys. That's what I want to hear. All right. Hey, by the way, don't be late today, okay, Steve? I got crunch time for college deadlines, so be there on time.
Yes, sir.
All right? Keep it going, guys. Keep up the good work.
All right.
All right.
Bye, Mr. Cooper.
See you guys.
That was close, man. I thought he was going to overhear us. Now, can we just please get off campus?
Look, we are going to finish this discussion, and I don't care who hears us.
Hey, Maddie. Come here. Hey, Maddie. Aren't these pictures the bomb?
Yeah, nice.
Hey, I got your text yesterday. So where'd you eat lunch?
Jason said he missed me, so he brought us lunch. He's so sweet.
So did you eat here on campus?
Yeah, it was nice.
And did you get that cheeseburger you were craving?
No, I had a salad.
A salad?
I like salads.
They're healthy.
Dude, whatever. Maddie, why are you so tense? It's like you're waiting for someone to walk through the door.
I just really need to talk to Miss James. She's late, and I need to talk to her about the project.
Why? You don't want to take pictures anymore or something?
No, it's not that. I have a life too, and I wish she'd hurry up and get here because she's never late like this.
Relax, okay? She's late sometimes, but she always comes. Gosh, you're freaking out for nothing.
Okay, class, settle down. I brought the layout papers. Madison, Taylor, did you bring your disc today?
Yeah, I have my stuff.
Good, because I want to put the pictures on the disc and get the layouts going today, too.
Miss James, can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah, but we have a lot of work to do.
Can we step outside?
Sure. What's the matter, Madison? You're not yourself today.
Miss James, I really need you to put me on another project. I don't want to do photography anymore.
Another project? You and Justin are the best photographers we've got. Did you two get in an argument?
No, it's nothing like that. I don't want to do photography anymore. I want to learn something new.
Madison, that's not like you. Photography is your passion. Remember, you've been talking about college courses, and you're just the best photographer, and the yearbook is the best because of you. Besides that, we are on a deadline, and everybody's already got so much to do.
Yes, I know, okay? But if you can't find me another project, then I'm just going to have to drop the class.
Okay, Madison, I need you. We'll see what we can do. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
City View Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
right, good morning, Los Angeles. It'll be the City Council meeting for Friday, April 9th. We can be viewed on Channel 35 or on the Internet or city phone. Our council meeting will begin. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Hahn, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Very well, thank you. For those of you that are in Chambers or at Van Nuys or San Pedro, if you're here to speak on an item, please fill out the card and have that card submitted before that item is called. Once the item is called, we will not accept additional cards on those items. So if you're here for an item, please fill out a card, turn it to the Sergeant at Arms prior to the call of that particular item. First item, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Rosendahl, second by Ms. Perry.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Labange and Mr. Krikorian.
Mr. President, do you wish to run through the agenda?
Please do.
Item 1 through 6 are building and safety liens notice for public hearing. Item 6 may be received and filed inasmuch as the ownership has changed.
Items 1 through 6, are any cards on any of those items?
There are no cards, so...
Any specials, 1 through 6, colleagues? No specials? Hearing none. On those items, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes. And 6 has been received and filed.
Received and filed, number 6. Next items, please.
Items 7 and 8 are street vacations. The recommendations are to close the public hearings and instruct the city engineer to proceed.
Any specials on 7 or 8?
No. Or no cards, at least.
No cards? Okay, very well. Open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Next items, please.
Item 9 is an application for public convenience or necessity in Council District 5. The recommendation is to grant the application, and there is a card on that item.
Call that special, please.
Items 10 through 12 are items noticed for public hearing, and there are no cards on those items, and a report has been submitted and distributed to the council for item 10.
Very well. 12.
And 11 there's been a request to continue item 11 to April 13th.
Without objection, item 11 will be continued. Call item 12 special, please.
Okay.
So let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Next items, please.
Items 13 through 50 are items for which public hearings have been held. Item 14 is a commission appointment. Do you wish to hold that on the desk?
Please hold that on the desk.
And the committee reports for items 14 through 16, 20, and 40 have been distributed to the council.
Very well. Mr. Koretz.
I'd like to ask item 15 be called special.
15 special. Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. Items 27, 49, and 50 special, and then for Alarcon, item 34.
Very well. Those will be special. Mr. Labange.
Yes, I'd like to ask if anyone from a department is here for 26. If I could get an answer, I won't call it special, but I need an answer. Anybody here for 26?
What department is that, Mr. Labange?
Transportation Department.
Can we please call Transportation Department? Mr. Labange, we will hold that. We'll have that department contact that representative come by.
Thank you.
So if our clerk can please do that, contact Transportation for representative. Ms. Perry.
I want to call 24 special with the intention of sending it back to my committee.
Very well. 24 will be special. Mr. Rosendahl.
Yeah, 39 special with an amending motion. We'll get it.
39 also special. Very well. Mr. Krikorian, did you have one? 54. Thank you. 54.
We're not there yet.
Mr. Krikorian, that is going to be continued to April 23rd. All right, very well, so that'll be continued. Mr. Colleagues, any other items? We have cards. On the items we have cards, please call those special. I'll hold those for special.
Public hearing has been held on those items.
Very well. So open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
On the 17th, requested forthwith. 17 forthwith, please. Next items, please.
There are only 10 votes for the ordinances, therefore they'll have to go over for second reading. We can reconsider if we have 12 members.
Well, the ones that are ordinance, we need 12. I don't think we're going to have 12 here today. We may have 12 here today? Okay, well then let's, on those particular items that require an ordinance, if we get 12, we can have that passed today. So on those, let's reconsider. Open the rolls on reconsideration for those items. Close
That
the
would
roll.
be 15, 16, and 17.
Very well. So on those items, open the roll. 15 is special for Mr. Koretz. We already have that. So on those ordinances, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote for the reconsideration.
10 ayes.
Very well. And then we will reconsider those when we have the 12 members present. Okay, very well. So, Madam Clerk, that's the agenda?
No.
We have some more.
We
I
do.
thought we were done.
No, we're not.
Okay, let's keep going then.
Items 51 through 63 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration, and there has been a request to continue item 54 to Friday, April 16th.
It's April 23rd, I show.
I'm sorry, April 23rd.
Very well. Ms. Perry?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Parks wanted 54 called special.
He's right behind you.
Oh, great. Okay, great. Serious.
We're going to continue, Mr. Parks, we're going to continue 54 to April 23rd.
Which one?
You wanted it special, but we're going to continue it to April 23rd. Now, number 54. Ms. Perry asked that be called special for you, Mr. Parks, but it shows a request to continue to the 23rd of
While they
April.
think about that, can we get
Mr.
57
Cardenas?
special?
Mr. Cardenas? Specials from you, sir.
57.
57 special for Mr. Cardenas. Any other specials on those remaining items? Mr. Parks?
62.
62 special for Mr.
I'd
Parks.
ask that we call that out of order when the victim's family comes to council.
We will do that, sir. So 62 we will call out of order. Priority on 62.
And there are cards on several of the items.
On the items we have cards, please call those special.
That would be 52, 56, 58, and 60.
Very well. 54 is continued.
Oh, it's continued, sorry.
Okay, so on the remaining items, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
It's already called special.
10 ayes.
Next items, please.
On the continuation agenda, item 64 is an item for which public hearing has been held.
64. No one has a question. Open the roll. Close.
There's no action
No
required.
action on it? Very well. Then we'll receive and file. Next items, please.
That takes council back to presentations or items called special or public comment.
All right, well, we have presentations today. Mr. Parks? Mr. Parks, did you want to do 64? The item that you wanted brought forward?
Not here. As soon as they're here, we'd like to get...
Pardon me, sir?
The family's not here yet. As soon as they're here, we can ask...
All right, then
them
let
out
us
of
know,
order.
then we'll do it. Okay. And we'll give priority to that matter. And we have presentations today. We'll start with Council District 8, Mr. Parks. Our first presentation will be with Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, colleagues, we have an outstanding group of young people here today, and I'd like to ask the Cougars of Crenshaw High School city champions in football to come up behind the podium. Come on up. I'd like to ask Coach Garrett and also Principal Allen to come up, and all of the coaching staff, all the administrators. Colleagues, we're used to having Crenshaw High School here in the years past in basketball. We've had them here a number of times because of their world-renowned choir. We had a group of young students here a year or so ago that had the largest increase in the sense of change in the academic decathlon. We had a group here a while back that were the undefeated junior varsity basketball team. Well, today we're breaking new ground. We have city champions, football players that went for the first time in the history of the state championship, competed and represented the city of Los Angeles. So today we want to recognize the 2009 Crenshaw High School football team coaches and their principal. The team had an excellent season this year. They were undefeated with a 14-0 record. They also, as I mentioned earlier, basically went to the CIF state championship game, the Open Division Bowl game, played at Home Depot. They defeated, I'm sorry to say this, Ms. Hahn, but they defeated Narbonne in the LA Coliseum for the city championship, but they, unfortunately, their first loss of the season occurred in the state championship game. We wanted to bring them here because it's a once-in-a-lifetime situation that any athlete can consider themselves champions. This is something that many pro athletes look back on, and although they may have success in the pros, they also know that their greatest achievement often is at the formative years of high school. And although many of these young people may not go on to pro athletes, they're all going to be good citizens and continue to strive to create a positive environment in the city, just as they've done at the school. And so I'd like to ask Ms. Allen to come up and speak in behalf of the school, then ask Coach Garrett, and then we're going to have one of the student athletes speak and represent the team.
Thank you.
Take that visitor's tag off.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Crenshaw family, I'd like to thank Councilman Parks and the City of Los Angeles for their tremendous support of Crenshaw High School. I'd like to acknowledge our student athletes. Many of them are our best scholars as well, and they represented us in a manner that was exceptional. Our family, our community, all of the supporters of Crenshaw High School and people across the country took note. We heard from them and we got encouragement from them. So I'd like to take this opportunity to say thanks publicly and to say congratulations to our coaching staff and to our scholar athletes for a job well done. Thank you.
Coach Garrett.
Thank you, Principal Allen. Councilman Parks, thank you for having us. Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you for having us today. We are proud to be recognized by your organization, your group. We will continue to strive to do our best and to be servants, perfect servants for the community. Our quest is to produce good citizens within our communities, and we appreciate your assistance in doing that. We accept these awards on behalf of all of us, and your kindness and generosity will never be obliterated. We expect to be here next year to pick up the same awards, and thank you very kindly.
Now, which one of the student athletes?
Shannon Pitt.
Oh, don't turn around and run. Who's going to speak for the team?
Shannon.
Shannon? Take a pass. All right, Shannon. Take that visitor's tag. You're not a visitor anymore.
Hello. What a great honor and privilege it is on behalf of my team here to accept these awards and acknowledgments. What a great season we had. We played hard. Things went well for us. We were blessed to have an undefeated season. We look forward to being here next year. I say thank you to everybody who's been there, support us, and thanks for everything you have done for us.
Let me just say, colleagues, to show you how dominant this team was, I went to one of their games at home, and the score was going up, and I walked up to Coach Garrett, and I said, Coach, in the second half, you may want to have a running clock. And he smiled and said, we just finished the first quarter. And so it gives you an idea of some of the activities and how well they were coached and how well they did throughout that season. And certainly we're not going to let that one game mar that season, because they certainly came of age as a team. And we certainly, as the coach said, look forward to having them here next year, because they certainly have that nucleus to move forward. We have certificates which we'll give in the back in the media room to each one of the student athletes, the coaches, and the principal, so that we can facilitate it in that fashion. So we're going to go back and take photos, but we certainly want to thank Crenshaw High School for all of their achievements, whether it's in the choir, whether it's dealing with basketball, but certainly we're very proud of their most recent accomplishments as being city champions in football and then representing this city in the state championship.
Mr. LaBonge has some comments. Mr. LaBonge wanted to be a pro football player.
No.
But he's a council member.
No, I was very close to a pro football player. My teammate in high school was Mike Haynes, who has a great history. But to coach, to the administration, to all the staff, and to the players, representing Los Angeles is a great honor, and being a city champ, as Mr. Parks said. He has been a champ for Crenshaw, and is the improvements on the field. Give Councilman Parks a big hand, because you've done a lot to help that program, which is very special. He was on injured reserve, I think, the weekend of the championship, and as a alternate on the Coliseum Commission, I was there. It was a beautiful day. It rained, tough field, but you played on one of the greatest stadiums in the whole world. In the whole world. That Coliseum, that floor, the seat of the 1932 Olympics, 84 Olympics, the Dodgers baseball, the Rams football, the Raiders football, UCLA football, and USC football. That stadium, and that day you played well, a ferocious defense, Coach, very great defense, and the whole team. Now, the only shout-out I want to get to is who's the center there? Get the center. What's his name? All right, Mr. Robinson, and all your players know it doesn't happen till Mr. Robinson snaps the ball. Give the hand for the say. You got it. You got it. Congratulations, Crenshaw. And shout out to Dr. Shields for Team Heal, who does such a great job for Crenshaw Many Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Congratulations to Crenshaw on your victory, making the city proud. Our next presentation.
You guys can take off those visitors tags and take some photos back in the back, and you won't mess up your photos.
Be Mr. Koretz. Mr. Koretz. Where is Mr. Koretz? There he is. Mr. Koretz, you're up. Madam Clerk, while we're waiting for this presentation, let's do number 10 forthwith, please. 10 forthwith. It is Friday, and Mr. Koretz is here with our famous Friday presentation.
I got it.
Do you want to wrap her up so you...
No. Well, I think we have one of the cutest kittens that we've had on our Feline Fridays, one of our wonderful cats from the shelters. This is a velvet all-white kitten named Velvet, appropriately enough. She's 3 months old. She has a beautiful coat, a very sweet personality, and if you've ever wanted a kitten, this is the one. She is an absolute sweetheart. So come down to the council chambers or call my office at 213-473-7005 and adopt the most beautiful white kitten you could possibly find. And also I want to let you know there's a donating opportunity at the shelters. You can now, for $300, sponsor a kennel for a dog or cat for the year and have your name on a little plaque on the kennel and help us keep alive and get adopted one of the beautiful cats or dogs at our shelters. So here's your chance. You've got a little squirmy one, but very sweet, beautiful white cat. So come down and adopt it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. Feline Friday, thank you very much. And we've got 100% record on those adoptions, so let's continue that record. Our next presentation, Mr. Rosendahl. You have 2 presentations, sir?
I want my talking points. Okay, social workers. John Gregory, hand me that piece of paper right now. John, thank you. Okay. Good morning, everybody in this great city council and in this great city of Los Angeles. Last month, which was the month of March was the National Professional Social Workers Appreciation Month. But because of all of our budget stuff, we figured we'd put it in the first week of April to reflect on it. Come on up closer. Come on. Don't be afraid. We're all on camera here. Each March, we recognize the outstanding community contributions made by these professionals. The National Association of Social Workers has coordinated Professional Social Work Month for more than 25 years. The National Association in D.C. is the largest membership organization of professional social workers with 150,000 members. It promotes and develops and protects the practice of social work and social workers. They also seek to enhance the well-being of individuals, families, and communities through their advocacy. These are the people in every community who go above and beyond their regular work to make a significant difference in the lives of thousands. Thank you, Joni, for doing all that. Others may think and talk about problems, but social workers do something to change the system that perpetuates them. This is where the rubber hits the road, folks, is the social workers out in the community. These advocates can come from any field, but many times they are professional social workers. In recognition of their efforts, Congress recently introduced a resolution into the congressional record that celebrates National Professional Social Workers Month. Now, I just want to say, personally, I am a social worker, you know. I started with that, and we always believe once a social worker, always a social worker, because the underpinning values of a social worker is to help people, be it individual as casework, group work with community groups, or community organization. My interest was community organization, which is the systems around us that impact us and can maybe cause problems. But the social workers are the ones that go out into the community and deal with the issues. So it's an honor for me to honor my profession, the social workers. I'd like to turn it over to Joni to introduce your gentleman here, and then we'll have a little chat more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendahl, a wonderful, fabulous social worker. My name is Joni Diamond. I'm an LCSW, which is a licensed clinical social worker. Social workers work in all particular settings, from a school social worker to a caseworker to a licensed psychotherapist, where we do individual, family, marital, group psychotherapy. We're administrators. We design, develop programs, and we do research, and on and on. That we're in all types of settings. We also do consultant services and expert testimony on standard of care. We invite all of you to join us during your break time. We have a big cake and coffee in the executive room there, and you're all invited. I'd like to let me present this to Council Member Bill Rosendahl, MSW, politician, for his outstanding contributions to making a difference in our communities.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'm going to present the cert to you all, and would like our executive director to speak about it. And it says, Certificate of Recognition is hereby presented to the National Association of Social Workers. With over 150,000 members, the NASW provides guidance, research, up-to-the-date information, and advocacy for its members for social workers throughout the nation. NASW has excelled in promoting the professional development of its members. It goes on and on. We just want to thank you very much for your contribution to society. Why don't you just make a quick statement?
Okay, I have one more gift before he goes. To the Eggman. The Eggman? Yes, we have some eggs for the Eggman.
Story behind that. There's a story behind that, folks. Chocolate eggs.
I'll be brief. On behalf of the California chapter of the National Association of Social Workers, I just want to thank Councilman Rosendahl, as well as the rest of the City Council, for acknowledging the incredible work that professional social workers do. I also want to personally let Mr. Rosendahl know, I hope you know how important it is for us, for the city, for the profession, to have a social worker, somebody who brings social work values to the council. And I just want to let you know that we appreciate you within the NASW. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all very much. Let's give them a round of applause, folks. Social Workers of America. And there is a nice cake in the back room. Take a slice, and then we're going to bring it out to the rotunda to everybody. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Mr. Rosendahl, you have another presentation. You're the last one up.
Now, Mr. Labange, here he comes. You know, as we have been doing this early retirement plan, many of us know, though it is a cost-saving mechanism and it's helping to bring out the budget deficit and all of those issues, we are losing some of the best and the brightest and the most effective leaders that our city has ever had. Many of them, including this gentleman right here, Harpal, that everybody knows, is retiring today. And this is his last day. Many of us have worked with him. I've had the pleasure in the last 5 years in various capacities, now as chair of transportation, that I consider him a wise sage. He's actually younger than me, but he's going to go home and he's going to play tennis with his 9-year-old grandson is part of his plan. But we expect to see him back in government. We have a great cert for you. I'm going to ask Mr. Labange to get up and say something.
Well, thank you.
Rita, come on up, Rita. She's also here, the great head of that department.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the council, and those in the John Farrar chambers. Harry Paul there has one of the outstanding employees of Los Angeles, focused on the Department of Transportation, focused on trying to make things happen for what is a very critical issue, the mobility of people of the city. And he has always been there with ideas, with a plan to try to implement and to make a difference for the people of Los Angeles. As Mr. Rosendahl articulated, it is difficult in this time period to lose great talent, but great talent also taught great talent, and there's some of that talent that's behind you. We are going to miss you, Harry Paul, but we also want to let you know we thank you for what you do. And I know you have your lovely wife here and your son, which is so special. So all together, get in there tight. Let's have a big hand for Harry Paul Beer. May Mr. Rosendahl and I ask the very outstanding General Manager of the Department of Transportation say a few words first. Rita Robinson.
All right, Rita. I love you,
Good
Rita.
morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Well, this is a happy and sad day at the same time. We're really, really happy for Harold Paul and his family that he has an opportunity to go live his life and enjoy himself and have some fun. But we're also losing a great amount of talent within the city family, within the DOT family. But as the council member said, he has grown a whole group of young people that are wonderful and ready to take on your lead and to do some of the things that you did and move forward with it. So we're really proud of all that you've done and grateful for all that you've done for the city family, which will go on and on and on. There are just some projects that you wish you had been able to finish in your time. But as you know, we're just trying to get things moving, and we will keep them moving. But you have a legacy behind you of a wonderful family. I know you have a lovely wife and son and beautiful grandson, but you have other daughters and sons that you don't know about that are here with you. You'll get a chance to meet. Daughters and son in our city family that are beautiful. And we know you have a lovely daughter in New York that's a doctor, and I think about how you've raised a wonderful, wonderful family. You and your wife have raised a beautiful family, a very successful family. Your life coming from India to here. This is a true American story of success. And so as part of that American story of success, they don't give you a gold watch in the city, but you get a couple of glass chips and a pen, and you get a beautiful scroll from the city of Los Angeles. But most of all, you have the hearts and minds of those that you've led in the time you've been here. So we really appreciate you here, Paul, and wish you all the best of health, wealth, and happiness in the future.
Mr. Koretz. Mr. Koretz.
Well, I think, unfortunately, this is one of the downsides of our having to do these early retirements. I think we're saying goodbye to absolutely one of the most capable people in our entire staff in this city. I've had the opportunity to work with you in both the city level and I and my staff when I was at the state level. I hope you will occasionally come back for a 90-day period and grace us with your expertise. We've been lucky to have you all these years. I wish you much success, and you've just been terrific. So I just want to thank you for all your service to the city of Los Angeles.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you. Haripal, I just wanted to rise and congratulate you on your service. There's been so many projects we've been able to work on together, but I'll never forget, when you come in as a new council member and you're trying to figure out the city, you know everything about your district, but unless you've worked here, you know nothing about the city. And when we were looking at Glendale Boulevard in Echo Park, where I live, and there had been a beautifully designed plan to increase, this strange dysfunctional flow that was there. It was perfect from an engineering standpoint, but for the community who actually, drives it every single day, and I do believe that people who live on a given block know their block better than anybody. From the landscaping to some of the flow, we were looking at something else. And I have to say, it gave me great faith that I had joined an incredible association here in the city of Los Angeles when you took a couple of weeks and you said, we'll come back, and you came in and you showed me on a CD-ROM a new plan that you had that just depended on the timing of the lights and changing a couple things to change what had been, I think, an 8-way intersection down to 3 cycles, and you did it with such elegance and grace. It gave me great confidence of all of the folks that were working on behalf of the people. So congratulations. It shows just one story of, I'm sure, hundreds that have been a part of your career of improving for those folks who live on a block who might not know who you are, might not ever know your name, but today have a better quality of life because of the things you've done. So congratulations. We look forward to staying close to you.
It has been a great privilege to work for this great city of Los Angeles and all these honorable council members. It has been just real perfect life to bring department's perspective and citizens' perspective together under your leadership. I've enjoyed every single moment. I've been very fortunate that I have 2 great general managers here, our ex-general manager Frankie Banerjee and our current, just sweethearts, Rita Robinson, Rita and Frankie, and of course Tom Connell is not here today. Without you, I would not have done what I've done. Very good. Thanks to your leadership and help and kindness, we are here together and we did something good for the city. I'm very proud of you. Thank you very much. And I have my family here, my wife for 40 years, Mrs. Shakti is here. Thank you. And my son, Dr. Veer. And my whole staff is here, and Ken Hastings, and Kong, and Michael, and Sunil. All of them are here. Thank you for the help. Thank you for this recognition. Thanks. Thank you, and I'm very, very grateful. Thank you.
Congratulations on your retirement. Well deserved. Congratulations to you and your family. That completes our presentations for today. And we have one other matter we'd like to proceed with before we go to public comment. That's the commission appointment. If you can please bring item number 14 up, please. Mr. LaBonge?
As we transition from presentations, I want to give a shout out to Evelyn Jones, 49 years, City of Los Angeles, the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Street Lighting. She works at Santa Monica and Virgil, a great person who is retiring today, 49 years, too shy to come to City Hall, but I want to give a shout out to Evelyn Jones. Let's have a hand for Evelyn Jones for 49 years.
49 years city employee. We wish her well. Thank you. Madam Clerk, number 14, please.
Item 14 is a commission appointment to the West LA Area Planning Commission. Mr. Christopher Lee.
I'm now informed that there's a request that this matter be continued. So, Mr. Koretz, when would you like that continued to? We're going to continue this matter at the request. Yes. Can we get Mr. Koretz on mic, please?
The mayor's office and my office would both like to have this item continued.
Do we have a date certain?
I believe to April 16th.
April 16th. All right, that matter. Mr. Lee, it's going to be continued to April 16th. This matter is being continued April 16th. Okay, thank you very much. Then we'll now go to public comment. Dr. Weissman, public comment, sir.
Thank you very much.
San Fernando Valley to City Hall, sir.
Well, it was a big decision whether to come here or go there first. At any rate, last time I was before you, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday, I apologized for not being here often enough, for not being clear enough, and for not being effective enough in the efforts proposed. An apology is just words unless you put it into action, so I'm here, and I'm hoping the 7 recommendations for our city budget, which is in your hands at this time, will be looked at carefully, considered carefully, and implemented. I do not think that this is something that originated in my brain. It is something that has been going across this council for months and for years, actually, and going across the city, especially in the neighborhood council activities. I propose to bring this before the neighborhood budget advocates, a group of elected officers of this city, and I'm proud to be their secretary tomorrow. I will propose this to them for their consideration and a formal presentation to you. You get the first chance at it. You've had the chance at this for some long time. It includes things like an immediate cut in the salaries of the highest paid members of the city, and this is not a cut but a withhold for the 2.5 months left to us, and then a reinstatement of that by adding it to next year's TRAN. Several changes in the TRAN, several changes in the way in which we collect our income so that we don't have 6 months of shortfall as we do now. An inclusion of sworn and non-sworn people in a renegotiation of everyone's salary that's going to affect all of us next year. That's of particular importance because of the need to retain people like the person we just lost a moment ago, and because we retain people, retain services. I look forward to working with you on these projects. I know many of us do, and thank you for hearing me today.
Thank you, Dr. Weissman. Phyllis Doherty.
Good morning, council members. Phyllis Doherty. I'm here today to speak about a tragedy that happened in our community and all of our communities when the Sunrise Community Outreach Center had their tattoo removal machines stolen on March 26th. This affects people everywhere because Rosemarie Ashamala, who is a PhD, who's a counselor and helps people not only in removing the tattoos, but also with employment interviews, filling out resumes, all the things that they need to do to start a new life, has now stopped completely because she cannot function as a tattoo removal clinic. This is a nonprofit organization. When I was at the LAPD Academy last night, the police officers were speaking about what a loss and what a tragedy this is for all of the city. So we're here today to ask anyone that's watching, if anyone has any information on how this large machine was stolen from the clinic at Beverly and Alvarado, to please notify LAPD and provide any information you can. And also, Rosemarie is going to tell you about her work, and we're going to ask for help from anyone in the community who can reestablish this vital function that helps not only gang members, but anyone who has made mistakes and put tattoos anywhere on their body that actually can be a detriment to them in forming a new life. She will give them a new chance, and we want everyone to do all they can to try to help this good work go on.
Thank you. Dr. Clyde Williams.
Dr. Clyde Williams, 4115 Barrett Road, El Sereno, Northeast LA. DWP, I've been gone for a week, and what has happened? I don't know. Does anyone really know what happens in DWP? For 2 years, they've been playing around with a thing called the strategic plan, but we don't have any plan. We have a new general manager acting. Maybe that's the imperative word, acting. What are they doing? They did the typical bureaucratic system. Wait until the very last minute, make a crisis of it, bundle all sorts of things together. I tried to explain it to our neighborhood council meeting on Wednesday night. It's a mess. Why? Because you're including ECAF as a rate increase. Well, ECAF is not strictly a rate increase. It's an adjustment. But it's periodic, requires no vote by the board, requires no 245 review. It's automatic. That's a bureaucrat's delight. It doesn't have to come to the board. Therefore, take it all apart, disaggregate it, and put it as real rate increases as most utilities require. That is, each month they vote for a new rate increase in this, in that, but then they have to document why. And that's the imperative word, to document, to provide transparency to the community who's going to pay for it. Myself, my rates will remain pretty much as they are for both water and power because I don't consume that much. We have 5 people and it's well below a few kilowatt hours per day. So we're looking at get it disaggregated, make the board vote on each one of them as separate rate increase.
Thank you,
no
Doctor.
ECAF.
Thank you, Doctor. Lisa Sarkin. Lisa Sarkin. Good morning.
Good morning, Lisa Sarkin, Studio City Neighborhood Council. I'm going to talk to you about a true story relating to the Department of Water and Power. The Department of Water and Power is a secret agency, in my opinion, and that of my neighborhood council. I'm hoping that Mr. Smith's motions might open it up in some way. In 2007, the restructuring was proposed. Studio City was placed in Zone 1, secretly I might add, because it didn't have enough days over 90 degrees. That's what we were told at the time, but apparently that wasn't true. The report says that the rate is at, the change is at 80 degrees. From 2007 until today, the Studio City Neighborhood Council, myself and Barbara Monahan Burke, working with the CD2 and the Department of Water and Power's MOU group, tried to find out and to determine exactly why zip codes 91604 and 91602 were not hot enough to be in Zone 2, the Valley. We were told over and over again that some report was being written, but we never received it. The Studio City Neighborhood Council requested by motion from CD2 at the time when it was, Ms. Gruhl was our council person, for an explanation of the rates. Nobody can find a motion that she supposedly put forward to the Energy and Environment Committee. Within the last 2 weeks, we've been told by Mr. Jeff Childers and Ms. Winifred Yancey of the DWP that, quote, the motion is lost somewhere in the City Council Committee, and the report is in a committee and she can't release this report. None of this was true. And last week, Councilmember Krikori and staff has finally found out something. In July of 2009, the DWP approval letter and resolution added Studio City zip codes finally to Zone 2. Only relating to electric rates. We don't know what happened to our water rates.
Lisa, thank you.
I really need to finish this. Take me a second.
Ma'am, you have 2 minutes like everyone else. We have to abide by the rules. Thank you. Brett Johnson. Brett Johnson. Mr. LaBonge, we have the rules for the public speakers. The public speakers get 2 minutes.
Mr. President.
You can extend it every time you wish. It's your discretion. You want to extend it? We'll give them 5 minutes.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
She can submit her statement in writing for the record as well. Thank you
That's
very
correct.
much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Brett Johnson.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr.
If you would let
LaBonge.
people finish their sentence, that's all.
She finished it, Mr. LaBonge. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, my name is Brett Johnson. I'm a client of the Sunrise Tattoo Removal. I'm here in regards for them. In order to, I've been getting tattoos removed from them because I've been having trouble getting a job, and I'm a recovering addict, so I'm trying to do away with my past. I was getting rid of the tattoos through Sunrise Tattoo Removal, and then this unfortunate thing happened where it got stolen. And they're very affordable. They're one of the only tattoo removal machines available, companies that do that in LA, low cost. And also, I can't, explain enough how important it was to me getting these tattoos removed in order for employment, because that's the main thing that employers look at is physical, the way you look. So it's very important that we get this machine back. Being gang-related tattoos and all, I just wanted to get them off of me. So there's also one other place, Homeboy Industries, that she wanted me to tell you about real quick. I was on the waiting list for a year, and I wasn't able to get in there. And this place is low cost. There was no waiting list. You just show up, pay the $60 or whatever the amount is, get the tattoos removed, and that's about it. And just want to explain that it's very important that they get this machine back, and I hope that somebody helps them out there, find it. I don't know if they'll find it, but maybe you could contribute to them. That's it. All right.
Thank you. John Walsh. Mr. John Walsh. Ms. Gardas?
John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org. Past 7 months since last September, 430,000 visitors, including Wall Street. Now, Wall Street lowered your bond rating the other day. I want you to know that Fitch, Moody's, all of the street, all the financial community is watching my website because they know they're going to find out why Miguel Santana really got arrested. They're going to know that this city council refuses to ask the mayor to take a simple drug test. So we find out why he is acting bizarre. I am a player in cyberspace, and I want to tell you what I want to do. I'm going to take your bond rating down, 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 till we find out. Take a look at the mayor's eyes. I worked at a free clinic for 2 years. I can see when somebody is under the influence of drugs. Villaraigosa backs off a plan for furloughs. The LA Times is to Villaraigosa as Johnny Cochran was to O.J. Simpson. The headline here should have said, Villaraigosa backs off bizarre 3-day work week threat. Big win for City Council. I'm proud of all 15 of you for standing up to this bully. If you want to know what's really happening, go the way Wall Street goes every week. And I know that for a fact. HollywoodHighlands.org. And you'll find out the contention they talked about. They talked about political contention here. And that's because you have a mayor who's glassy-eyed. Take a look at what he looked like on television 2 years or 4 years ago. It's a different man. It's a man under drugs. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Arnold Sachs. Arnold Sachs.
Thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. I don't know how many of you might have read the LA Times from Wednesday, April 7th, the editorial of the LA's financial quagmire regarding the Department of Water and Power. But what was interesting in this editorial is, and I'm going to read, as a municipally owned utility, this is the DWP's breach of its commitment to transfer cash. That's the money that they're talking about that's shorted to the general fund. As it does each year from its account to the city's general fund. As a municipally owned utility, it makes the transfers in lieu of the taxes that privately owned utilities must pay to the state or the dividends they must pay their investors. So, it's a municipally owned utility, but it's a proprietary department. So what the public should find out here, and what the public needs as a DWP advocate or a private advocate, is to find out what the rules are. Why can't other businesses pay a fee in lieu of paying taxes? And who's deciding on what this fee is going to be? Because if DWP is deciding, and their employees, as we know from their from the contract negotiations, are 20% higher paid than any other city employees, who's getting the words in? Who's putting the bottom line down here? Who's making this amount up? Is it the city? Does the controller do an audit and base the amount that what they're going to transfer into the general fund will equate to the taxes that they would pay? You have a situation with, like, train stations like Chatworth, where the DWP gets money from the lighting district. How is this possible?
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Mr. Robinson, Richard Robinson.
Mr. President, members, Richard Robinson. I reside at 1730 North La Brea in Mr. Garcetti's district. Because of the September 11, 2001 attack, the Treasury flooded the world's economies with greenbacks, preventing the financial collapse anticipated by the terrorists. God knows what else besides those horrendous. However, because we prevented, the Treasury magnificently flooded the world's economies with greenbacks, we're still feeling the aftershocks. Alan Greenspan lowered the rate that Fed charges banks to borrow to zero. You don't have to be a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. The financial infrastructure of the world's greatest economy bottomed out. Oil prices skyrocketed as our enemies continue to gouge our system. But factory output for 8 years, hello, is up because of the boss and what? My cousin. Now, to make a long story short, we're in good shape. The infrastructure's together. St. Matthew 6:34. Don't give conscious thought to tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Dr. Asmala?
Good morning. As you heard, about 2 weeks ago, we at Sunrise Community Outreach were shocked to find that our medical laser had been stolen out of our agency. For 10 years, I've been managing and running programs to provide low-cost or no-cost tattoo removal for former gang members, people getting out of detention, people in recovery for substance abuse, victims of domestic violence who are getting the names of their abuser off them, and many, many other working people and members of our community who wanted to have better employment or a chance at any employment. I cannot function at all. I've come to ask for whatever help the citizens of Los Angeles can provide me. I serve people from all the way from Lancaster, all the way down to South Central, all the way to Culver City. All parts of the city of Los Angeles and beyond come to me. There are only 4 agencies that do this work at low cost, no cost in the entire city, and only 5 of that I know of in the entire county. It's critical right now, and I'm hoping that perhaps some of the council people might also see fit to sponsor 1 or 2 up to 5 youth from their specific districts, and perhaps with that sponsorship money we may be able to replace our laser. At the current time, I have a challenge grant from the California Community Foundation for $25,000. I'm trying to get that met. I have about $7,000 in individual donations. That's $32,000. I need $80,000 to buy my laser and to continue this very important work. Thank you so much for hearing me. I hope that you will be able to help me.
Thank you. Mr. Cardenas.
I'd just like to clarify, this is an organization, it's my understanding, that does not serve just one little geographic area. You serve people who walk in, whether they're from Rosendal's district or my district or Mr. Garcetti's or anybody's district, and you don't confine yourselves to the city of Los Angeles. If there was a person who wanted a tattoo removed and they happen to live in the city of San Fernando, you would service them as well, correct? Okay, I just want to make that clear. Thank you.
They service many regions. Maria Maldonado. Mr. Garcetti?
The agency, I know my staff has been talking to you as well, and appreciate your geographical presence and where you are, and we will work and talk to those foundations as well and put in good words, because I know the work you've done has been extraordinary. It really is the physical manifestation of transforming people's spirits, and we appreciate the work that you've done. It was unbelievable somebody would do this, and we're going to work very hard with you to see what we can do to help. So thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Ms. Maldonado.
Good morning. My name is Maria Maldonado, and I removed my tattoos from Sunrise Community Outreach Center 4 or 5 years ago. I was working at Boeing, and I started there in their badge and ID. That was my position, and then as a badge and ID administrator. And my tattoos, I had my tattoos covered up for about 4 years with Band-Aids. And I didn't know that my tattoos were holding me back from promotions. Once I got all my tattoos removed, I got promoted and I was moved to the executive building at Boeing. I got laid off from Boeing, so I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to work at Sunrise Outreach, where they helped me remove my tattoos at a very low cost. I would not be able to afford it. I was the person who discovered the machine to be stolen Friday morning 2 weeks ago, and I was in total shock that anybody could do something like this to our clinic. We're really hoping that somebody will come and try to help us with donations or any leads. Our location is on Beverly and Alvarado. Our address is 2105 Beverly Boulevard, Suite 219. Our number is 213-483-2655. And I also live in Ed Reyes' district. And I'm really, really glad that I had the opportunity to get my tattoos removed. And every client that I have personally that calls me, they're all devastated that we do not have this machine. They want to know when we will be back up and running. So we're hoping that somebody could help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Esperanza Martinez.
Good morning, members of the City Council. My name is Esperanza Martinez, and I'm one of the lead organizers with the Bus Riders Union. And as some of you may know, the MTA is proposing to raise fares on July 1st of this year, at a time when their own annual budget has grown about $1 billion. And as you all know, your constituents are experiencing extremely tough economic times. Since January of this year, the BRU has been asking for a public hearing, a public process that MTA staff had been denying us. And a couple of weeks ago at the last board meeting, Councilmember Jose Huizar and Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa took leadership and moved a motion at the board to call for a public hearing. So I wanted to take the time to recognize the leadership of Councilmember Huizar and Mayor Villaraigosa. And today, because of their leadership, you will see a resolution introduced, and the leadership are actually Councilmember Labange and Bill Rosendahl. You will see a resolution asking the council to take a strong position in support of a public hearing. And I hope that you follow in their lead and unanimously approve that resolution and help us not only hold a public hearing where the entire board has to be present, but we hope to work with you all and meet with you all in the coming weeks to try to stop the conversation of a fare increase altogether. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Marilyn White Sedal. Mr. Parks, we have two more and then we'll get to your matter.
Hello. I got out of the sick bed to come here because I am so concerned about what Lisa Sarkin has said to you. It is wrong. You all have a copy of the statement that she did not finish or could not finish. But I am sick and tired. I have been in my home for 53 years in Colfax Meadows in Studio City. I hope to die in that house. The rate it's going, you people, the DWP, are going to kill us off real quick. I am tired. I want my money back now. And the few of you, if you're the only ones interested in this whole shoe, please, please work on this. We need the whole mess that they've made of Studio City corrected immediately, and we want our money. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Huntsman.
Good morning. My name is Michael Hubman. I'm a human rights and homeless rights activist. Safer Cities Initiative is like a fig leaf that is hiding a campaign to oppress the poor and homeless people of Skid Row, Los Angeles. Naming this activity Safer Cities Initiative is like George Bush administration trotting out the Clear Skies Initiative to provide cover for polluting energy producers. Broken Windows Policing is a campaign where police come to poor neighborhoods and figuratively break their windows. Safer Cities Initiative is an abomination. It should be put out of its misery at the very first opportunity. City Attorney Krutanich comes to Gladys Park and suggests that a group of impromptu demonstrators are in cahoots with the drug dealers. Is Catherine from the Catholic Worker, a former nun with over 30 years working with the poor, in cahoots with the drug dealers? I think not. The police and the district attorney have a history of targeting activists with drug and other bogus charges for a long time. According to civil rights and legal activists, the police and district attorney routinely elevate simple possession offenses for possession up to possession for sale. They do this in Skid Row with a vengeance. I will be discussing this activity on another day. With the city in serious financial difficulty, I suggest that Safer Cities Initiative is a program that begs to be eliminated. Public safety, yes. Using police powers to oppress poor people? No. House keys, not handcuffs. And by the way, I don't think that the mayor's on drugs. Thank you.
Ankur Patel.
Hello, Ankur Patel. Last week I went down to the DWP's headquarters. I asked them for their budget. They didn't have it. They wouldn't give me a copy of their budget. They told me to write down my name, they'll call me back. They didn't. This week I did get an email from the Board of Commissioners. I asked them, again, give me the budget, show it to me. And there are, in the 2008 budget, other accounted for $80 million. The key word this year is operations and management. They write down operations and management, and that accounts for millions and millions of dollars. That is a vague, vague term. It doesn't mean anything. On page 21 of their budget, They talk about $1.2 billion and they explain this with 6 bullet points. The first bullet point is the Nyland Solar Project, and 6 bullet points accounts for $1.2 billion. This is a hocus-pocus budget. There is no information in it. On page 30, they talk about gas turbines. These are basically airplane engines. They burn them using gas, and they have a $500 million project for this. On page 70, they talk about, they have blatantly bad math all over this. They talk about a 100% increase from 28,000 kilowatt hours saved to 50,000 kilowatt. 28,000 to 50,000 becomes 100%. This budget is an absolute joke. On page 117, they talk about the supply chain services. Again, operations and management account for $52 million for supply chain, operations and management. They have no other description on it, just a box. And they say operations and management, $52 million. Boom, that's it. There is no description, there is no labor, there is no personnel, there is nothing. It's an absolute joke. And then on page 138, the city attorney has approved budget of $42 million. They spent $30 million, and so next year the budget is going to be $42 million again, even though you didn't use it. Now, I mean, it's just an absolute joke. Please, the focus of this has to be the budget.
Thank you. That completes our public comment period. Mr. Parks, in just a moment, we'll get to you. We have some ordinances. We want to do number 17 forthwith. Madam Clerk, on the ordinances, we have our 12 members present. Please call those for the vote, please.
And those are items 16 and 17.
16 and 17, colleagues. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Very well. Then number 17, we're going to go forthwith. Anything else on the agenda for that?
No, that moves us to
Very well.
to 62.
Okay, Mr. Parks, on your matter, please.
Mr. President, and I appreciate having this out of order. I'd like to ask the Wilberetta Jackson to come up to the mic, make sure she has a portable mic, and all of the family members understand that Jeffrey, Destiny, Daniel, Shauna, and Stephen are here, and also our victim's girlfriend is Chris. So you can all come up to the microphone. Colleagues, what we have today is, and all homicides are brutal, but this is a particularly brutal circumstance that on June the 25th, 2009, at approximately 9:40 a.m., an 18-year-old young man by the name of Jesse Jackson was walking westbound on the north side of 55th Street towards Western when he was shot by 2 suspects for unknown reasons. The suspects had exited an older model blue or green colored vehicle and shot him from behind. When the victim was lying on the ground, the suspects stood over him and shot him again. The suspects then ran back to their vehicle and fled northbound on Western Avenue. Mr. Jackson was taken to the hospital where he remained on life support until his death on June 29, 2009. LAPD is asking for assistance, and we have Mr. Jackson's mom here, and we'd like her to make some comments and also introduce your family members.
These are my son's siblings with me, his baby's mother and his newborn baby. And I'm just here to ask the public for help because it was brutal. My son was murdered, and I no longer have a child. I love my child. I love all my kids. And for them to break my family apart like this, I feel like it was heartless, it was selfish, and it was inconsiderate what they did to my son. I'm just asking for the public's help. Please help find my son's murderer, because I need some kind of ease at my heart to know that this person who did something heartless like this is off the streets, because there's no telling who else he would murder.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Colleagues, we have a $50,000 reward, and certainly would like to ask anyone that has information to contact Detective Hale or Detective Pierce at the Criminal Gang Homicide Group at 213-485-4341. And so we'd ask for a unanimous vote on this reward motion.
Our condolences to the family, Mr. Parks, thank you. Colleagues, on this matter, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Very well. So that reward is then posted. Mr. Rosendahl, you had a matter that you wanted to move forward?
Thank you, Mr. President. Godspeed to the family there, by the way. It's just difficult to go from one issue to something as tragic as that. It's awful. Yes, item 39, we have circulated an amending motion, and I would like a consent aye vote on this issue. The parties have agreed to it, and nobody needs to speak.
Very well. On number 39, that matter, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Rosendahl. All right, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 9 called special for cards.
Number 9, John Walsh. Mr. Walsh, number 9.
John Walsh, HollywoodHighlands.org. Once again, another rubber stamp liquor license. And you know why? And this is the West Side. I must say, I want you to know that the drug dealers and the stick-up men are tired of South Central. They want to come over to the white people's neighborhood. So let's put more liquor stores where all the white people live. 10984 Santa Monica Boulevard. And why does Mr. Rosendahl, or whoever is the city council person there, want it? For public convenience. It'd make you happier. You will only be 300 feet from a liquor store instead of 200. And I bet my life that the man who killed Jesse Jackson was drinking and was all liquored up before he killed him. No more liquor licenses. We have enough. HollywoodHighlands.org. 1 minute. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. On that matter, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 15 called special for Councilmember Koretz.
Mr. Koretz, number 15, sir.
Colleagues, I rise out of deep concern for this item. It's no secret that I'm not a big fan of SB 1818 density bonuses, and I did not support the legislation when it was in the legislature because it causes too many impacts on the neighborhood for too little affordable housing. And in fact, it often these projects result in a lack of affordable housing or in a loss of affordable housing rather than a gain. I think it would be a missed opportunity not to fix our ordinance at this time. The ordinance changes before us are required by the courts, but I'll be introducing a motion that will improve protections for our neighborhoods by revisiting our entire ordinance for revisions, and I hope you will consider this effort. I think enough time has gone by since this ordinance was adopted, and we need to take a more comprehensive look at SB 1818, how we're doing, and what changes can be made to provide greater protections to our neighborhood. I'm also introducing jointly with Mr. Krikorian a resolution today asking the state to consider repealing SB 1818. This law has not made our city more affordable, but it has weakened local control of planning and zoning in the city, and it's created major disruption in our neighborhoods.
Mr. LeBonge.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. I'd like to add that under Mr. Krikorian's name, it's not about it's a balance of neighborhoods. And Jane, you're here from planning, but as you come up, The city of Los Angeles is a city of great neighborhoods, and sometimes now I see a trend to overpower by density that ruins the opportunity that we have to recapture neighborhoods. And neighborhoods are being recaptured. Jane, give us your outlook. I know this is your last day, so you can say anything you want, however you want. Give a big hand for Jane and her years of service right there.
I've been so restrained all the other days.
Right.
Well, the density bonus law was a state law that really mandated cities to grant bonuses, density, beyond what we've planned for. So while the state mandates that we do planning, it mandates that we exceed the planning at the same time. So it's not a planning law. It's an anti-planning law, really. But the law is the law, and we've tried as best we could in the city to implement it in a way that doesn't upset neighborhoods and devalue neighborhoods, and to the best we can. But the law mandates deviations from it, so it's quite a paradox.
Well, I wouldn't say a devalue. I think housing is extremely important. It's just where it is in the sense of our neighborhoods. As a representative of an area where there's a subway system and an orange line, I do support density near these stations, and they make a difference. I also support the efforts that have been made primarily by Ms. Perry in the revitalization and repopulation of downtown. But at the same time, I think there's a value to our community. We're one of 88 cities in the county, and I think if you ask anybody, whatever neighborhood they live in, they do like their neighborhoods if it doesn't overwhelm them. In that sense, in the challenge. So I think it should be thought out. Who wrote 1818?
I think it was it Steinberg?
No.
Someone from Redlands, right?
Mr. Koretz.
I'm blanking.
My recollection is I believe it was David Hollingsworth.
From Redlands?
Yes.
From Redlands?
Yes.
From Redlands?
Hollingsworth.
And AB 283 was from Vincent Thomas?
That was too long ago, I don't know.
Well, AB 283 was all about San Pedro and the same problems. The community plans reflected higher development than what was existed in the zoning.
Well, and that right there is the paradox. Have zoning and planning consistent, but then another law that says you must exceed it.
What's your last day today?
Today.
Thank you, Jane, for your service to Los Angeles.
Welcome.
Mr. Perez, thank you. We share, as many of us do, neighborhoods that really need to have the right planning done in an area to balance out for the future. Thank you.
Mr. Oldenow.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning.
Good morning.
As you probably remember, my famous Louise Avenue issue in Del Rey, what happened there was a clever game was played with 1818 that took what was basically an R1 neighborhood, but this had been zoned differently because it was connected with the corner there of Centinela, and they made a monster. 25-unit structure, totally out of character and scale with community. One of the worst public experiences I had in this job was with 100 constituents there, just angrier than a wet hen. I mean, they were really upset, right? And there was nothing I could do about it, because 1818 is the law. Obviously, on the west side, where they want to go in and play out this game, we might get one or two low-income units and at the destruction of everything else. What's your reflective thought about 1818? I'm against it. It's shoving things down people's throat. It's wrong. It's a developer's sweetheart deal. It's all of that kind of stuff.
Well, you probably will be surprised to find out that it's been a very tiny percentage of projects that have used the density bonus law, but something like 3%. You've had some particularly onerous ones in your district, and so have other council members, but for the most part, those have been the minority, and there's been maybe under 200 such projects altogether in the whole city in 5 years. So it's not very many, and most of them have been, maybe they add a story, and it hasn't been a problem, and it hasn't been that out of scale, but there have been those that have, and the problem with the law is that is what the law allows. So
if you could change the law and be a big shot in Sacramento, what would you do?
I think if we could localize it more, so sort of along the lines Mr. LeBron said, if we had more discretion over where the bonuses could occur, so they weren't in neighborhoods that were low scale and had a certain kind of character, that this would be so, would create such a different kind of housing product, that would be better. So clearly, around the transit areas, there'd be much less opposition, it would be much less disruptive. So I think that's the kind of thing that we would change. I think our implementing ordinance, the objections people have about about density bonuses, in my view, about the state law, not our city ordinance. We tried to implement what the law was in a way that's manageable and minimizes those out of character projects. But the law is the law.
When's your last day?
Today.
Today is your last day.
Yes.
Give us a reflective opinion, advice to us after your years in government of how we can be more effective leaders. Tell the truth.
That draws a blank. That draws a blank.
Does that have to be on the TV too?
Sure. Why not?
It's going to be recorded for life.
No, I don't know. I think, I've had a great career. I've worked with many of you, all of you, over the years. I think we've done a lot of really good things. When we have a good dialogue back and forth, despite everybody's views, I think that's when, the results come out best. And I think, at least for the planning department, the professional planners in that department are incredibly intelligent and talented and always, want to change the world for the best. And so to the extent you listen to their professional opinions and make up your mind, I think that's the best we can do.
Thank you for your service.
How many years have you been with the city?
30.
30 years. Congratulations. Okay, that matter is now before us. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote,
12 ayes.
and make that forthwith, please.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item 24 called special for Councilmember Perry.
Ms. Perry, number 24, and we have cards on that matter. Ms. Perry?
Yeah, thank you.
We do have one
I just wanted
card.
to take this item back to committee. Is there a card on it?
One card.
Okay, why don't you let them speak first?
Ankar Patel? Number 24, sir. You filled out a card on this.
Yes, it is. And again, all this information, can I ask you a question? Do you have access to a different budget than that is made public? Because I'm looking at the money spent on all
It's not a
this.
debate. You make a statement here. It's time for you to make a statement. If you have a statement, go ahead and make it.
I'm asking a question, though.
We don't answer questions during this time,
So
sir.
you may or may not have a different budget available
You
to
can
you.
discuss on the side afterwards, but during this time, it's your time to speak on this particular matter.
Well, I would just like
We
to see
don't
everything
engage
more
in debate.
transparent. The Information and Technology Agency has a budget of $90 million. All this stuff would be very beneficial to everyone if it was made available to us. The DWP's website is $2.3 million. That's how much they put in their budget, $2.3 million for a website. They have $3 million for their mail servers. Mails, Gmail's probably better than what they're using right now. And they're just spending money left and right, and it's difficult to access. That's the whole idea of the internet, right? So that we do have access to all this information and easy to use. That's all I'm saying. Make it easier for us to access this information. And hopefully we have the same information as you guys. That's all I want.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments. Ms. Perry?
I just want to send this item back to committee. Energy and Environment.
Very well. That matter is requested to go back to committee by Ms. Perry. No other
Without
comments?
objection.
Without objection, we'll send that back to committee. Very well. Next item, please.
Item 26 called special for Councilmember Labange.
Mr. Labange, 26, Mr. Labange. Problem solved. Thank you, Mr. Labange. Matter is before us for a vote. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item, please, and forthwith on that for Mr. Labange. And our next item.
Item 27 called special for Councilmember Cardenas, and an amending motion has been submitted and distributed to the council.
Mr. Cardenas, 27.
Yes, thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure that the amendment got distributed. It's just basically making sure that the process is better fortified and just closing a few gaps that were in the process. Thank you.
All right, that matter is before us. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 34 called special for Councilmember Alarcon.
Mr. Alarcon. Continue that request to Mr. Alarcon for a week. Continue that item for a week. That matter will be continued for 1 week per Mr. Alarcon. Next item, please.
Item 49, called special for Council Member Cardenas.
Mr. Cardenas, 49, sir.
Thank you very much. Is there somebody here from Animal Services? Okay. Basically, item 49 has to do with Animal Services adjusting the amount that they're charging for their annual transfer permit fee of $235. Also, this has to do with the fines and violations. They could be $250 for the first violation, $500 for the second violation. And the bottom line is this has to do more with people who breed animals and sell animals within the city of Los Angeles. There's no question whatsoever that there's a nexus between the number of animals that we have in this city and the amount of transactions that are going on, and responsibility falling more and more on Animal Services for them to deal with these issues. So these are appropriate fee adjustments, and I hope you support it. Thank you.
Very well. That matter is before us. Colleagues, open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Very well. Next item, please.
Item 50, called special for Council Member Cardenas.
Mr. Cardenas, number 50, and we do have one card. Hearing has been held. Mr. Cardenas, number 50.
Are there any cards?
There is one card. The hearing was held. If you wish to call, we will do that.
Sure.
Phyllis Doherty on number 50, please.
Thank you. Phyllis Doherty, the Animal Issues Movement. I actually meant to speak on 49 and 50, but Councilman Cardenas did such a good job. On item 50, it's so important that this is a line that those who are receiving waivers are people that really deserve it. Actually what it does is just restructure the amount that the people can make for a family. The low-income families can make for the entire family rather than just for the two members as it is now. We're way, way behind on how our current ordinance is structured. This will make sure that the lowest level is actually applicable to the entire family income. And it'll also make sure that people that don't really need this are not the ones that are using it, because certainly any time that we're waiving the charge for spay-neuter, for license, for anything like that, we still need to maintain a sense of responsibility among people. And when you find people driving up in a Mercedes and going in and getting free spay-neuter vouchers, that's not the way we intended it. So that's what this is just to realign it so that it will work out according to, I believe it's the federal guidelines that this will bring the city in line with.
Mr. Cardenas. Ready for the vote?
Thank you very much. Linda Barth is here with the department. I think it's an opportunity for us to remind the public about this opportunity. Linda, this adjustment in basically the scale that we're using, the federal HUD guidelines for very low income, is this going to reduce the amount of opportunity for families and individuals to get this service, or is it going to expand the opportunity as far as the eligibility goes?
It will actually expand, Linda Barth of the Department of Animal Services. It will expand the eligibility to the extent that we will be able to match family size with the HUD very low income requirement, rather than just have a single dollar amount. Larger families, 4 or 5, may be in serious financial difficulty to accomplish spay-neuter. This will allow us essentially for the program to expand to match the family size, so that we put the appropriate very low income ceiling for each family size.
Okay. And which category are we using? I'm looking at my notes, and it says for very low income. What is the category?
Currently, we're using very low income, and we would propose to remain the same, but we would scale it with family size. Right now, it explicitly says very low income for a family of 2, and very low income for a family of 2 versus a family of 4 or 5 or 6 who may, in fact, have a beloved pet. Very different dollar amounts for them to hit that ceiling to be able to be eligible for a free spay-neuter.
And do we get approached with families of 3, 4, and 5 and 6 people?
Absolutely, we do. Yes. And right now, we take Lifeline, DWP Lifeline qualification, and sanitation's program. All the other programs in the city are scalable to family size, and we want to be aligned with them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That matter is now before us for a vote. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item, please.
I believe the questions were answered on item 12. Do you wish to consider that item at this time?
Item number 12, the questions have been answered. That item is up for a vote. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Forthwith on that matter, please. Next item, please.
Item 52, called special for cards.
Number 52, Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Arnold Sachs. I'm just curious, because I believe last week, maybe it was Wednesday, you had an item on your agenda regarding a consultant for the port, and the salary was $140,000, and you were questioning whether the port was going to be paying had the funds to pay for that consultant position. And yet here, you're going to spend $80,000 for consultant activities, and what's really kind of confusing here is $40,000 from the 3rd Street Business Association or other entity as matching funds for the consultant study. What happens if you got $40,000 from the 3rd Street Business Association and another entity? Why would you take $40,000 from the Business Improvement District Trust Fund? Shouldn't you look at getting matching funds for the consultant study and then allocating funds from the Business Improvement District Trust Fund before you decide how much you need to spend? And again, is it $80,000 for the funds and then $80,000 to hire the consultant? And $80,000 for this consultant and $80,000 for the consultant in item 53, and $80,000 for each consultant for every business improvement district that wants to be created? That's not a bad gig if you can get it. How many business districts are going to be created? How many business districts? I mean, items number 31 through 38 are a business improvement district, and they're run by for-profits because the business improvement districts don't hire the management. It's a for-profit deal, and the city doesn't allocate funds for doesn't allocate personnel to run the bids. So who will be running these bids?
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. John Walsh. Thank you, Mr. Sachs. There's a clock on that counter so you can see as the time marks down, so it's no surprise when the buzzer comes up. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, go to blog HollywoodHighlands.org. Let me tell you what business improvement districts are. When the city doesn't provide all the services it's supposed to, the property owners get together and vote in a business district, and then they have to pay taxes. They have to. Now, this is not just commercial property. I live in a BID. My landlord pays into it whether he wants it or not. And therefore, when they compute what they're going to raise my and anyone who lives in a BID who's a renter, how they're going to raise my rent, that money works its way in. So I'm a taxpayer here. Now this is seed money to $40,000 of your money, our money, $40,000 of the business association, 40 plus 40. This is a waste of our money. You know those little dummy cops that show up and run around and they're a joke? Those are the BID cops, and no one laughs at them more than the real cops. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. That matter, Mr. Krikorian. Mr. Krikorian. No. You'll pass. Okay, thank you. The matter is now before us. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 56, called special for cards.
Number 56, Dr. Williams.
Dr. Clyde Williams, El Sereno, Northeast LA. Preferential parking. Guess what? All the requirements, the parking problems still exist, and no permanent solutions have been found. Maybe that's because we keep providing parking for people who are commuting into our residential areas, near our residential areas. The city parking meters are pushing people into the residential areas. Why? Because there is still too much commuting being done here in a city of 4 million people. Put in more public parking, that's an idea, but also remember that all of these need to pay for themselves. And in this particular one, it says the city may gain additional general fund revenues from the issuance of parking citations to violators. Okay, that sounds pretty good. We need those monies not necessarily in the general fund, but in the parking preferential areas also. So I'd highly recommend, number one, expand, like South Pasadena has done, to cover almost the entire city. Why not? Because the parking fines are part of the general fund, so you could generate far more money through violations. By whom? Mostly commuters. And we still see every day on Huntington Drive, most of the cars passing there are single occupancies. That is 85 to 95%. So we need to control the parking, not just in our residential areas, but throughout the city. And part of that should be no more commuter parking. 2 hours, 3 hours maximum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
5-6. That matter is now before us. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 57, called special for Councilmember Cardenas, and there are cards on that item.
Mr. Cardenas, we have 4 cards on 57. Mr. Cardenas, your pleasure here.
Thank you. Cards
Speaker
first,
first, okay? Maya Zutler. Zutler.
Good morning, Maya Zutler here on behalf of VICA, Valley Industry and Commerce Association. We are here in support of this item for the North-South Transit Bus Project. This has been many years in the making, and I urge you to support this item. This project will bring much-needed relief to the major north-south corridors in the San Fernando Valley. And we believe very strongly that the Van Nuys Boulevard corridor improvements should receive the highest funding priority. Van Nuys Boulevard improvements will provide the biggest bang for the buck. There will be significant benefit to residents, businesses, drivers, and bus riders in the areas on and around the Van Nuys Boulevard corridor. Van Nuys Boulevard is a central corridor in the San Fernando Valley, and it makes the most sense to give it the highest funding priority. It will become part of a larger, comprehensive BRT strategy, which is what we have been striving for all of these years. I would like to thank the Los Angeles Department of Transportation for all of their help and support in getting us here today. For these reasons, I am asking you to support this item and support the Van Nuys Boulevard improvements as the centerpiece of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, HIGHLANDS. Wall Street bond raiders' favorite website. Of course we support the busway, but hidden in here is an analysis of north-south passenger rail in the San Fernando Valley. You know, rail has failed. Their prediction for the Red Line, 300,000 weekday boardings by the year 2000. Right now, 140,000 weekday boardings. The East Side Extension, 4,000 weekday boardings. Their prediction was 14,000 weekday boardings. And your little Tunaville trolley, the Angels Flight, come on down there. Come down there. I go to the Central Market all the time. It's empty. Tourists never venture into that neighborhood. I've lived here since 1976. That little trolley, you spent a couple of $1 million after you killed some people. And I'll say one thing for MTA, they have never killed anyone on their rail systems. No one in a car has been killed. However, Angel's Flight is another story. You've killed people on one person on Angel's Flight. Up and down, almost empty. Oh, it looks so cute. No one gives a damn about it. No one walks around in that neighborhood.
Mr. Zahn, he's not talking about this.
I am talking about the
Mr.
North...
Walsh, please stay on the subject.
I am saying that you should not do a passenger rail line study because rail has failed. You are wasting your money. Now, this gentleman here loves to tries to intimidate me. And notice no one is even backing you here. HollywoodHighlands.org, and I'm going to do a special blog on the system. And why isn't his name up there? Why does it just say city attorney? He won't even tell us his name. HollywoodHighlands.org. Rail has failed. The ridership is poor, and we don't want any more north-south rail lines, east-west, and all it is, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Dr. Williams. Snap to, Doctor. I see you jumping right up there. Thank you. You don't have to run.
Dr. Clyde Williams, El Sereno. This is a great project. We need more of them. How about one for the Northeast LA area? How about one for the Wilshire Corridor? The buses at least serve the general public far more than the rails do. However, in this particular one, I would highly recommend that you have the reporting period placed on a quarterly basis rather than an annual, because nobody can control MTA or even DOT. I'd also highly recommend that you require that DOT forms a memorandum of understanding with the neighborhood councils that are affected by this system and its related junctions. So I highly recommend that you expand the program overall throughout the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Arnold Sachs. Develop a budget for an alternative analysis of expanded north-south passenger rail. Why don't you just sign 10 blank checks and give them to MTA every month, and they'll fill in the amount? I recall when the Expo line was first announced, Councilman Rosendahl requested a $100,000 budget for a study to connect the Green Line to the Expo line. Don't recall any results from it, but I know $100,000 is being spent for what? What about the Wilshire-only bus lanes? That's been studied to death, really, on that. And now you're going to study open-ended without a budget for the north-south passenger rail lines in San Fernando Valley. And let's not forget when Councilman Alarcon mentioned something about a bus-only line in the San Fernando Valley that was the $90 million for the bus-only lane that was approved, but never anything accomplished with that. I believe that, oh, this is it. So you're going to spend more after you already spent $90 million, which makes it even worse. This is just throwing good money after bad money after bad money. Go online and search the MTA library and look at the number of reports that have been done and the studies that have been done on Wilshire Boulevard. Now you have another major thoroughfare, major roadway that's going to compete with that study. They'll have to build another wing onto the Tower of Babel down by Union Station. It's incredible. Nice job. Oh, and a completion date for the study, and a completion date and a budget so the public knows what they're losing.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. Is Department of Transportation here? Metro, MTA, all of our transportation folks.
There's no other public speaker cards on this matter.
We're on item 57. What's your name?
I've been waiting on...
Maybe you go somewhere else.
54. It looked like oh, they filed you under 54, man, because it looks like a 4 and not a 7. That's what happened.
Go ahead and let her...
Ms. Yang, go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Sun Young Yang with the Bus Riders Union and the Clean Air Campaign. I'm here today to also urge that the council approve this motion, the recommendations made by LA DOT around the East San Fernando Valley North-South Transit Corridor Bus Improvement Project. Transit improvements in the valley is long overdue. We have East Valley has one of the higher, bus ridership as well as transit-dependent folks living in the area, and we desperately need improvements in our transit system. We're particularly excited about the median bus lane alternative being proposed on Van Nuys Boulevard, and we would love to also be part of the community outreach process. If the environmental clearance process moves forward today. Especially this area, the Van Nuys Boulevard arterial connects residents to important job centers, schools, and hospitals and other recreational services, and it also will improve the mobility for also folks coming outside of the valley who are going to access their jobs there in the valley to connect better to their to these centers, and especially bus improvement, especially bus lane projects, as we've seen in Wilshire Boulevard, will have tremendous improvements on mobility, but also increase transit ridership and really move the valley as well towards a sustainable transportation plan. We hope we can, count on the City Council leadership to expedite this process and ensure funding, as well as we want to encourage the leadership of Councilmember Alarcon and Cardenas in particular, who represent the area, to ensure this project moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cardenas? Well, yes, go ahead, Mr. Cardenas.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. This is a very important transportation issue that we're covering today. As a matter of fact, when now Councilmember Alarcon was a state senator and I was a state assemblyman, we actually worked on making sure that there was $100 million that went to MTA to make sure that we had a north-south corridor occur. Unfortunately, at the same time, fortunately, we had put together $200 million for an east-west corridor in the San Fernando Valley. That is pretty much now known as the Orange Line. The Orange Line is being utilized way above expectations and beyond the capacity that anybody expected. So it's obviously something that needed to happen and should have happened, and thank God it did happen, because it is certainly being utilized by the people who are dependent on public transportation. However, we are still basically, in my opinion, at the beginning stages of the north-south corridor. So if you could please describe to us what this project right now seems to try to address as far as which corridor or corridors, north-south in the San Fernando Valley, and what kind of expectation we would expect once we actually achieve that conclusion of that project.
Good morning. My name is Kang Hu. I'm Senior Transportation Engineer with Department of Transportation. We've been working with MTA, the council officers, the mayor's office, and state elected officers to develop this project. The recommendations before you will meet the goals of state legislations, the Metro's long-range transportation plan, and Major R program. What we would seek your approval is to work with Metro to conduct the environmental impact report for 3 phases of this East San Fernando Valley North-South projects, and we will also do an environmental clearance report for the busways. We have developed 3 alternatives on Van Nuys Boulevard, and that will connect the Metro Orange Line to the Panorama City, and that will be a very critical north-south transit corridor connection. After this is done, then it will have integrated transit systems in the East San Fernando Valley. In this report, we also recommend the MTA will work with us to develop another study for the passenger rail connections between the Metro Rail Line station at North Hollywood to the Selma Metrolink station, and that will be the future potential locations for the high-speed rail. So that will be a critical station that we want to connect with the existing rail system. So these are the recommendations before you. We feel that this is a critical project, and even though we do still have to go through environmental clearance stage, but that's critical to get these critical projects completed.
Okay, and thank you. And one thing I just want to make sure that the community understands is there are still yet to see we have still yet to see many community meetings and presentations done throughout the communities along the corridor and beyond, obviously open to anybody from the public. In addition to that, as it's stated here, at the least, we will be looking at 3 alternatives down this north-south corridor. And so the bottom line is, I just want to make clear to the community, some people who don't understand the process, they might think that because we're talking at the city council level here, that this is a done deal and the plans are already finished, etc. No, we are at the beginning stages of hopefully the last segment of making sure that we see this happen. Thank you.
Mr. Labange. Thank you very much. I know MTA is here. You want to sit at the table and just add that too? On the issue of the Orange Line connector, will Orange Line buses come from Lancashire and Chandler to Van Nuys and then leave the Orange Line area and then go north on Van Nuys if you desire? Or is it going to be you get off the Orange Line and transfer to the Van Nuys north and south for MTA?
As we go through the environmental process, we would be working with our operations planning staff to develop an operations plan that would be, efficient and effective and also would attract riders. So we haven't yet figured out how the operations plan would.
I just think that's a great idea. I think this would be, if you could look at that, instead of having people get off a bus to transfer to another bus, you could have those who go all the way to Owens Mouth or to Canoga Park and then go north to Chatsworth Station. That's one line, but there could be what's the number of the Orange Line? What's the bus number? Is there a bus number? I feel terrible. I know 725 is the Wilshire.
Yeah.
But does anyone know that? You know what it is there? What's the number of there?
I think it's
I think it might be the 960.
Yeah.
What is it?
It may be the 960.
So the 960, so there could be a 960A, or whatever that would terminate at the Lancashire Red Line station and then leave that as well. And also with the work that's going on the San Diego Freeway to look at what comes off at Burbank Boulevard and then gets onto this too. These have been successful. They're subways on wheels. I do believe in high-speed rail. I do believe the Valley missed an opportunity thanks to then Senator Alan Robbins, who was very much against the subway system going out there. Also, this should have been some connector, but we're here to deal with it. And you've made an impactful change in the way people can move across the valley, because the tremendous numbers that come into North Hollywood, it means is a success. So I would just say if you could look at that in the sense of as it starts and goes, and the same thing too as you look north from Lancashire to Sylmar. I know Mr. Alicorn earlier made a hard point on the high-speed rail should be in Sylmar, which makes sense to coordinate those terminus into there. And I look forward to working with you. And would you know, and I don't know if Mr. Cardenas would know, is there a displacement of curb parking, or would they use the existing 6 lanes of Van Nuys Boulevard?
The current proposal is to look at 3 different alternatives for a busway. And with at-grade alignment, it's possible that we would lose some on-street parking.
Yeah, it's just a very tough thing. And on those big, wide streets, if you could think of something new, because people love their curb parking as often as they can get it from a standpoint. I know all council members like that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. Labange, and Mr. Alicorn is next.
Council members, it's been a long haul, 10 years that Councilmember Cardenas, then Assemblymember Cardenas, and I, when I was a senator, were fighting to get the Northeast San Fernando Valley the investment that it needed to alleviate many of the transportation problems in the Northeast section. In fact, when Gray Davis announced the measure with then Speaker Bob Hertzberg, I announced that I opposed it because it didn't do enough for the Northeast Valley. Shortly after that, there were some improvements, $100 million worth, that Tony, as chair of the Budget Committee and working in concert with all of us, including the governor and the speaker, to ameliorate those published concerns, were implemented. And so we did get some signal timing coordination that was improved and some other enhancements. But the bulk of the issues related to the transit corridors were not addressed by any comparison to the other investments that came from that measure. And so when Measure R came along, and further to exacerbate the problems, the money that was designated, much of it was moved into other projects outside of the Northeast Valley. So, needless to say, a lot of the representatives and the community of the Northeast San Fernando Valley were very upset. And so when Measure R came by, and the mayor announced his support for it, Senator Alex Padilla, Assemblymember Fuentes, Tony Cardenas, and I just stood firm that we could not support this project unless we had an absolute commitment for the Northeast Valley that was tantamount to the original commitment that was made back in the year 2000. The mayor was unaware of that history for the most part, and was very upset by it as well. And to his credit, he demanded the MTA to negotiate with us. We negotiated, and ultimately we supported Measure R and supported what now we have before us. And so we owe a lot of thanks to all those people who saw the light that we need to improve the transportation flow, particularly in one of the most dense transit populated areas in the region. And so we are very thankful that we have come to this day. I specifically want to say thank you to Art Leahy, who came on board not too long ago, came back. He was over at the MTA when I was on the MTA board back in the 90s. And so when he came back, he was almost embarrassed that something didn't happen in the Northeast Valley, because he knew how passionate we were about this subject. And so I want to say thank you to him for helping us with this project. This is not a done deal. It is not a slam dunk. There are some very difficult engineering challenges that will impact the community severely, and that's why we provided so many options. And yet, I think that at the end of the day, there are going to be tremendous benefits that are derived from the projects that ultimately emerge here. Some of them are guaranteed opportunities that will better the community. Others will be challenges. There's no question about it. But the fact is that we are investing about $100 million into the Northeast Valley that should have been invested 10 years ago, and in doing so, we will improve the transportation in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. I remember when Bill Clinton came to a press conference at the Metrolink station in Sylmar. And one of the messages, there were many messages given that day, but one of them was clearly that where we created these hubs of intersections of activity, that we must create the connectedness to all those systems, the intermodality that is necessary to make all of these systems work. It's not about high-speed rail, it's not about subway, it's not about rapid bus, it's about all of those things and the DAS service and everything else that goes with it, and how we coordinate them. And that is what this project is finally seeking to accomplish, and yes, at the Metrolink station in Sylmar. Ultimately, there will be a high-speed rail that will give us additional challenges, but that is for another day. This will be designed in a way to recognize the future, but at the same time to address the immediate concerns and hopefully make transit riders more comfortable, give them more opportunities for connections to jobs and health services and all the other things that people use for the buses, not to mention the students. So I want to say thank you to everybody for getting us to this point. We'll continue to work with you. I want to thank Councilmember Cardenas. This has been a pleasurable working endeavor, and we feel very proud that we're able to deliver this to the Northeast San Fernando Valley. Again, colleagues, in advance of your support, I want to say thank you to all. Thank you.
Thank you. That is our last speaker. If nobody else wishes to be heard, we have the motion before us. Please open the roll, the communication, excuse me, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Next is item 58. We have a card from John Walsh on item 58. Mr. Walsh, you have cards on 58 and 60, but you have 1 minute left. Would you rather speak on 58 or 60?
I don't have 1 minute left. I have about 60 days left. Oh, I'm talking about my life.
All right, 58.
HollywoodHighlands.org. Moody's Investors Rating Services' favorite website. Find out what's happening. This concerns housing. And this is item 58. I will agree that moderate income housing funds, we're all in favor of it. We were also, incidentally, in favor when you evicted Grandma Gomez from perfectly good housing and tore it down at Selma, Mr. Garcetti, for housing for the homeless. And I said, okay, and now it sits there for 3 years, and the LA Times tells us they're never going to build.
He is not speaking about item 58.
That's what that's true. You want to arrest me, fine. Remember, Moody's is watching this. The more contention here, the lower your rating gets. Moody is watching everything. And they tear down perfectly good
Thank
housing.
you, Mr. Walsh. That will close our comments for item 58. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. We'll send that forthwith without objection. Next is item 60. Mr. Walsh is out of time, but Mr. Sachs, you have a card in on item 60? You have 1 minute left as well, sir.
Yes, but it sounds more if you say 60 seconds. Thank you. Various mapping and demographic analysis related to transit projects in Council District 1. We just heard about various transit projects in the valley. How is it, $200 million you spent there? And who is the Central Neighborhood Partners? Is that a for-profit group, a non-profit group? Who exactly picked this crew to run this demographic analysis? Don't you have CRA has dealings in this area? Don't you have neighborhood council in this area? Wouldn't the money be better allocated by using a resource that the city already has than just, again, writing a check, $80,000 to Central City Neighborhood Partners?
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. That will close the comments, on item 60. Nobody wishes to call that special. We'll prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next order of business, please.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Those are posted and referred.
And there is an excuse on the desk. Councilmember Hahn requests to be excused on Friday, April 16th for personal business, and this meets council policy.
All right, Ms. Hahn is excused.
And the desk is clear.
All right, colleagues, first announcement, we will be meeting on Tuesday at 11 a.m. At 9:30 a.m., the funeral for fallen Marine and LAPD officer R.J. Cottle will be at the Cathedral. I know that many of us will be attending that beginning at 9:30, but we will then call council at 11 o'clock for that day on Tuesday. And for members of the public, it's on our agendas, but for those listeners and viewers, we will begin on Tuesday at 11 a.m. in order to honor our fallen hero. Other announcements, colleagues? Mr. Labange?
Koretz at Pan Pacific Park. It's the annual Holocaust Memorial Day. The public is invited to attend at 1:45 at Pan Pacific Park.
Thank you.
Shall we never forget?
Absolutely. Any other, Mr. Zine?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items scheduled here. Events on Saturday at 12 o'clock, Winnetka March for Kids at Runnymede Park in Winnetka from 9 to 1. Bring your children out. Also this weekend, St. Mary's Assyrian Church, they're going to have a festival and carnival, and that is on Lindley, south of Victory. The street just south of there will be closed for this annual wonderful event at St. Mary's Assyrian Church. The public is welcome and invited. Also at 3 o'clock on Saturday, I have a foreclosure fair at the West Valley Community Police Station in Reseda. So if anyone's facing foreclosure or in a default on their residence, we have experts that will be there to assist you. It's a free program for the community. That's 3 o'clock at the West Valley Police Station. And on Sunday,
Thank you. Mr. Parks?
Mr. President, I'd just like to advise the community and my colleagues that we have two major health events going on in the 8th District on Saturday. Wilburn Cook, who we honored a week or so ago, is having their annual prostate cancer screening on Saturday at St. Bridget's Church, 5214 Southwestern, and it goes from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And then also, the Crenshaw Christian Center is also having a health fair and at their church property at 79th in Vermont. And their program goes from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we ask the public to come out for free screening, free medical screenings.
President.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to announce to all Angelinos that this Saturday is Super Saturday. It is March to the Mailbox for the U.S. Census Bureau. To the final word out to get, please fill out those forms and send them in. The City of Los Angeles is counting on you so that we get our fair share of federal dollars. Please send in those forms. Saturday, big push to get the forms in. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements, colleagues? Not, do we have any adjourning motions today? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Huizar, Koretz, Krikoyan, Labange, Parks, Perry, Rosendahl, Zine, and Garcetti.
Thank you. This meeting in Los Angeles City Council is adjourned. We'll next be in session on Tuesday at 11 a.m. here in the John Farrell Council Chambers. Have a good weekend. Be safe.